Welcome everyone, this is On This Restart, and this time we're talking about when we could expect to see the release of the next big 3D Mario, the sequel to Super Mario Odyssey. Now before we jump into things, let me first very quickly talk about my social media. You may see a few different things here on screen. You can check that all out. It is linked in the description below. And of course, if you like what you're seeing here, you can subscribe or perhaps consider joining as a member. So since the release of Super Mario Odyssey, there has been speculation that maybe we would get DLC for Mario Odyssey, but now that it's already 2022, we are now approaching 5 years from the release of Mario Odyssey. It's about 4.5 at this point in time. The notion of DLC for Mario Odyssey seems to be far gone, and now we are in the territory of expecting a sequel. Now, when I say a sequel to Mario Odyssey, I don't necessarily mean Super Mario Odyssey 2. If we were getting Super Mario Odyssey 2, I think Nintendo would have announced that already. And considering how far we're into the Switch's life cycle, I would say that the next time we see the next big 3D Mario, it would be to push new hardware for Nintendo. Whether that's a Switch 2, a Switch Plus, some sort of mid-gen refresh, hard to say, but considering that there's also a new Mario movie that's on the way and it's coming out sometime next year, it was actually going to come out this year but it was delayed until next year, it's seeming like the time to push the next big Mario game, the next big 3D Mario, might be lining up with the release of the movie to some extent, and also potentially with some new hardware, given that we're already past the 5-year anniversary for Nintendo Switch, and most console generations for Nintendo last 5 to 6 years, so we're getting pretty close. But let's go ahead and talk about the different times we've seen releases for big 3D Marios and the gaps between them. In summer of 1996, we saw the release for Super Mario 64. Then in the summer of 2002, 6 years later, we saw the release for Super Mario Sunshine. The next big 3D Mario came out on the Nintendo Wii in holiday 2007. So the gap shortened somewhat there, a little bit less than 6 years. But then 3 years later, or 2.5 years later, about halfway through 2010, we saw the release for Super Mario Galaxy 2. But then on the Wii U, holiday 2013, we saw the release for Super Mario 3D World. The gap there was just 3.5 years. And then for the Nintendo Switch, holiday 2017, 4 years later, we saw the release for Super Mario Odyssey. Now there's a few other considerations to be made here. Super Mario 3D Land, arguably, technically also a 3D Mario game, came out in 2011, in between Mario Galaxy 2 and 3D World. And then there's also 3D World again for the Switch, plus Bowser's Fury. There's a little bit more new content there, a little bit more of a campaign, and that came out in the beginning of 2020. But basically, when you consider the main 3D Mario releases, the big ones, we don't see gaps longer than 6 years. And considering that we are now approaching the 5-year anniversary for Super Mario Odyssey this October, going into next year, where we're going to be seeing the next movie, and potentially an announcement for new hardware, things are lining up. It's looking like we're not too far off from an announcement for the next big 3D Mario game. That announcement could even happen this year, potentially this June, only a couple weeks away. That's a possibility. Now, do I think we're going to see an announcement for the next big 3D Mario in just a few weeks? I think it's unlikely. Is there a possibility? Of course. I'll say maybe 10-15%. And I'd love to be wrong there. I'd love for it to be higher. But I do feel confident in saying that by the end of next year, at the very least, we will have seen an announcement for the next big 3D Mario. That's my opinion. When you consider that Breath of the Wild 2 is coming out early next year, and that we're getting DLC for Mario Kart Deluxe, and that Smash Bros. Just finished with all of its DLC, it's unlikely that we're going to be seeing Smash Bros. Or Mario Kart or a new Zelda coming out to push new hardware. So what other big franchise has Nintendo used to push new hardware? The answer is 3D Mario. So even if we go throughout the entirety of this year and 2023 with no announcement of 3D Mario, I'd be absolutely shocked if we don't see it sometime in 2024 because, well, by that point there's sure to be new hardware and Nintendo's gonna need some game to push it, And by 2024, we'll already be talking about the largest gap between major 3D Mario games. We've never seen a gap that long before. The largest gap was the gap between Mario 64 and Mario Sunshine, and that was just the very beginning. Ever since, those gaps have been shorter. And let me reiterate, the next big Mario movie is coming out next year. If Nintendo is deep into development for a new 3D Mario, and they surely are this many years after the release of Mario Odyssey, then they are very likely going to have both of these products come out fairly close to each other. I'm not saying they come out on the same day, but I'd say within about a year. So considering that, considering the likelihood of new hardware around the corner and the need for Mario to probably be a launch window game, and simply the amount of time that has passed since Mario Odyssey, and considering the gaps we've seen between other 3D Mario games, I think it's very likely that we're going to be seeing an announcement for a new 3D Mario pretty darn soon, and the release of it, in my opinion, before the end of 2023, but worst case scenario, it comes out in 2024. But what do you guys think? When do you guys think we'll see both the announcement and the release for the next big 3D Mario? Let me know in the comments below. Anyways everyone, this is On This Restart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Take care.